Alright, hello, good afternoon. We have a breaking news story in Bellerose that apparently only one media source is covering this afternoon. An awful fire in the Bellerose section here in Queens. One person dead at a home, and there's barely any information other than I was barely even able to find the address on the Citizen app of where this house is. So, Channel 7 didn't even bring up the address, which is very disturbing why they didn't do that on the air. But we're going to read this article. Okay, so here we go. One person died in a house fire in the Bellerose section of Queens. The fire broke out in the home on 88th Avenue at around 6:45 a.m. on Tuesday. News Chapter 7 overhead showed the aftermath. A resident was discovered dead by responding firefighters. So there you go. Barely any information. And if you go on to Google and you try to find any information on it, you can barely find any information on it. So let's see if Laura Uhl posted this on Facebook, because I should have checked her page before I even started recording. So let's see if we can find anything, what's going on here. Okay, here we go. Yes, okay, so this address is adding up. So, according to Laura Uhl, the fire started in the basement of the building. And as you can see here, oh my goodness, this is just awful. I mean, this house is pretty much gone. This house is just completely gone. Very, very unfortunate. And again, barely any media sources covering it. So, now I'm getting a different address. 230-14, according to Citizen app. So I'll take a look at 240-17 then. Let's pull it up on Google Maps, and we'll get you an accurate address. Yeah, I think that's the house, if it adds up. Let's see. Is this it? Oh, that's definitely it. That's definitely it. So this is what the house looked like before the fire, and for whatever reason, this house didn't look like it was in good shape anyway. Kind of looked like it was misneglected for whatever reason. I don't know what led up to it. Let's see if we can get an older street view of this house and see what it looked like back in 2012. And for whatever reason, this house looked like it was in better shape back in 2012. And the most recent view was back in November. So as you can see here, this house was in terrible shape anyway. Hang on, was that air conditioner even in that roof? In that window? Sorry, because I'm just disturbed. I'm just so disturbed by this incident. Yeah. And here's a current view of it. In fact, there used to be a ramp to this house back in 2012. So, just very disturbing. And, you know, you're not going to hear anything about it on Channel 1. In fact, AM New York doesn't even have anything about it. The Queens Courier, if you even check the Queens Courier, there's nothing on the Queens Courier. Nothing on the Queens Courier. Nothing. Nothing! So let's check the Queen's Chronicle. Barely any information about this fire. Other than we know that one person is dead. And we don't even know how old that person is, because again, so much is happening so fast. You know, here we go. I mean, yep, nothing about the fire. Nothing about the fire. However, one of the elected officials did respond to this. Let's see if we can pull it up. Yes, so thankfully the good news is City Councilwoman Linda Lee, who represents the 23rd District, sent this out. And that's how I actually found out about this, believe it or not, from her. So this tweet says, my office is in touch with the FDNY regarding this morning's fire in Queens Village. I'm on my way to check out the site of the fire and will share information about how we can support the family and neighborhood safely. So, yeah, again, very unfortunate that this happened. And again, you're not going to hear anything about it from Channel 1, obviously. And, you know, just shame on the Queen's Courier, shame on the Queen's Chronicle. You would think that the Courier would have an article, but they don't. They just don't. Okay, so let's get into some other incidents going on, because I'm trying to keep this video under 15 minutes today. I think I can make it happen. So here's something else that you're not going to hear about on Channel 1. Violent creep sought for Queen's rape attempt inside apartment building elevator. Okay, so here's what happened. The NYPD released video footage of the perpetrator behind the January 23rd attack, which occurred at 3:30 a.m. inside an apartment building elevator near the corner of 190th Street and Woodhall Avenue in Hollis. According to law enforcement sources, the creep was in the building lobby as the 38-year-old woman walked inside, returning home for the evening. Cops said the perpetrator slapped the woman across her buttocks as she walked into the elevator, then followed her inside. Once inside the lift, authorities reported the suspect punched and kicked the woman about her face. He verbally threatened to rape her, then tore off her shirt and bra. Seconds later, however, the creep took the woman's iPhone 10 Plus, then exited the elevator and fled in an unknown direction. The incident was reported to the 103rd Precinct. The victim was brought into Jamaica Hospital in stable condition after suffering facial pain, bruising, and swelling. The video shows the suspect walking into and out of the elevator. He's pictured wearing a black jacket, black pants, and black sneakers. You know, this is why Channel 7 did a half-hour special last night on all of this violence going on. It's perps like this who don't belong on the street. And you know, Channel 7, I will say shame on them. They didn't even bring up anything about bail reform. You know, I have a tape of the special. I'm going to try to upload it. But, you know, the bottom line is, this is probably somebody who got off on bail reform. Most likely. You know, these criminals need to be behind bars. They need to be in jail. Jail! This is ridiculous. Alright, so let's get to some other news. Yeah, in fact, I had this in a different tab, but I'll read it first. Because there are some other hit-and-run incidents that we're going to get into in Queens. So, here we go. Driver leaves woman critically injured after hitting her while she crossed a Brooklyn street. Oh, look at this. This happened in Greenpoint. I know exactly where this is. I'll show you on Google Street View. According to police at 7:30 p.m. on January 24th, the NYPD responded to a 911 call regarding a motor vehicle collision involving a pedestrian truck on McGinnis Boulevard north of Norman Avenue. Upon their arrival, officers found a 75-year-old had been struck at that location. A 70-year-old man was driving a 2021 Lincoln Concierge northbound on McGinnis Boulevard when he struck the victim, who was crossing the street mid-block. The victim was taken to Elmhurst Hospital in critical condition. Alright, so at least the good news is the driver did remain on the scene, so this is not a hit and run. So that's good news. However, for a second there, I thought this was a hit and run. I really thought it was. So let's see if we can pull it up here. Okay, so what I'm going to have to do is type it this way. Now it should come up. Here we go. I said, I know this area very well. I know exactly where this area is. If we can zoom out, show you exactly where it is. Not too far from where, guess where? McCarran Park in Williamsburg. Why aren't I surprised? As soon as I saw McGinnis Boulevard, I had a bad feeling I knew exactly where this was. Yeah, and obviously, it is possible to speed down the street. It is possible. It is very possible. In fact, if you look up McGinnis Boulevard, actually ends right around here, right where the BQE is. So, like I said, I am pretty familiar with this area in a sense. Yep. Okay. Now we're going to get into the next one. Because there's just so many incidents that it's just so hard for everyone to keep an eye on. But yet, you know, you think Channel 1 could cover it. Like, not send a reporter. You know, at least just read from the teleprompter. That's all I'm asking for them. But no, they're not going to do that. Okay, I'm just organizing everything. Just bear with me. There we go. A woman died of her injuries after she was hit by a driver on an Upper East Side street early on Monday morning. According to the police at 6:37 a.m., the NYPD responded to a 911 call on January 24th regarding a pedestrian struck at the intersection of 3rd Avenue and East 76th Street. So yep, I know where this is. That's the Upper East Side. Upon their arrival, officers found a 51-year-old woman unconscious and unresponsive with trauma to her head and body. Sadly, the victim was taken to Northwell Health Lenox Hill Hospital, where she was later pronounced dead. Her identity is being withheld pending family notification and to comply with federal HIPAA law. A preliminary investigation found the 59-year-old woman was driving an Audi sedan on East 76th Street, and when she went to turn right onto 3rd Avenue, she hit the victim. The driver remained at the scene and was not injured. Meanwhile, in an unrelated incident, police in the 24th Precinct responded to a 911 call regarding a pedestrian struck at the intersection of West 93rd Street and Amsterdam Avenue in the Upper West Side. Upon their arrival, officers found a 43-year-old woman unconscious and unresponsive with trauma to her head and body. Paramedics rushed the victim, whose identity is also being withheld pending family notification and to comply with federal HIPAA, to St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital Center, where she was later pronounced dead. A preliminary investigation found that the 45-year-old man was driving a white Nissan van on Amsterdam Avenue when he made a left turn onto West 93rd Street when he hit the victim. The driver remained on the scene and was not injured. No arrest. So, thankfully, none of the drivers did flee, the Audi driver and the Nissan driver. But, you know, this is what's going on in our city, and you think Channel 1 would cover it, but no. We'll get to Channel 1 at the end of this video. Trust me, we will. We will. Yeah, I'm not even going to get into Eric Adams, because that's just something I do not have the patience for today. I'll probably have to do that in another video, likely tomorrow, because I'm just not in the mood for it. Yeah, I don't want to get into a Far Rockaway murder, because that's just something I do not want to get into. Oh, this is urgent. This is urgent. Well, I was going to read two more. Nope. Gotta read this one. Muggers in Jamaica. Where did this happen? And around 3:20 in the morning on January 9th in the vicinity of 92-33 170th Street, the 33-year-old victim was walking down the street when he was approached from behind by two men who showed a gun and demanded his property. The men then forcibly removed the victim's wallet and necklace and fled on foot. The victim was not injured during the incident, and total estimated value of the property that was taken was valued around $1,000. Okay, so one of the assailants was last seen wearing a Philadelphia 76ers baseball cap with a dark hooded sweatshirt with light-colored pants. So, I'm sorry, but as soon as I saw that was urgent, that was something I had to read. Let's see what this is. Yep! Right by Jamaica Avenue. No surprise there. No surprise there. Because it's Jamaica. No surprise. No surprise. Alright, so we're going to read two more articles. Let's get to the one in Astoria first, and then we'll read the Grand Central Parkway one at the end of this video. Because I said I was going to read the Brooklyn and Manhattan one later on, but, you know, I was already on AM New York's website. I mean, I wasn't going to leave the URL. Okay, so here we go. A motorist was struck and killed in Astoria. So let's see where this happened. Okay, so this happened by the Hoyt Playground in Astoria on Saturday. Okay, so the 18-year-old teen driver was pulled over with a flat tire on Hoyt Avenue North near 29th Street at around 11:30 in the morning when officers from the nearby 114th Precinct in Astoria responded to a 911 call regarding a person struck by a vehicle at that location. A preliminary investigation determined by the teenager was changing his tire on his car when he was struck by a Chevy Equinox that was traveling northbound on Hoyt, then approaching to the RFK Bridge. So I know exactly where this is, unfortunately. I'll have to show you on Google Maps. EMS responded and pronounced the young man dead at the scene. So, the 29-year-old driver of the Chevy Equinox remained at the scene. An NYPD spokesperson would not confirm if any arrests were made. The Highway Collision Investigation Squad is further investigating the identity of the victim, pending family notification. So, obviously, if this person's identity needs to be withheld, they're likely complying with federal HIPAA then. Okay, so let's see if we can look up Hoyt. Yeah, here we go. Okay, yeah, like I figured. I knew the 114 would respond because, remember, that's the precinct for Astoria, but I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for Hoyt Avenue and 29th Street. So let's Google that, and then we'll pull it up. 29th Street. So we'll look it up. Yep. Like I figured, I know exactly where this is. I know exactly where this is. Right by the Astoria Boulevard station on the Ditmars line. No surprise there. No surprise. Okay, and then we'll get to the last one. Man struck and killed crossing the Grand Central Parkway. So, I'm reading this article and I'm wondering, why was there somebody on the Grand Central Parkway? But, okay then. Very suspicious. Okay, so this happened on Sunday. It happened November... I almost said November. Wow. January 23rd. Here we go. Police from the 110th Precinct responded to a 911 call of a pedestrian struck just before 11 p.m. and discovered the victim on the eastbound side of the Grand Central in the vicinity of the LIE at exit 10E, according to police sources from the 110 Precinct. A preliminary investigation determined that the driver of a 2015 Toyota Camry was traveling eastbound on the Grand Central Parkway in the middle lane when he struck the unidentified pedestrian. EMS responded and pronounced the victim dead at the scene. The 57-year-old driver did remain at the scene and was not arrested. The investigation by the Collision Investigation Squad is ongoing, so don't want to assume anything, but probably this person was homeless. I mean, what are you doing on the Grand Central Parkway? Really? Really? I wouldn't be surprised if homeless people are hanging around Corona Park late at night. So let's just check to see what Spectrum News is covering very quickly at the end of this video. You may be wondering, well, they're bragging about Omni. I mean, that's a big deal. It's costing the city a lot of money, but, you know, you would think that they would cover what's going on, but no, they're not. Oh, look at this. Supervised injection sites. Really? Really? It's not what our city needs right now. Boy, I mean, what else is there to say? What else is there to say? So I figured, we'll read from Channel 1 very quickly. Might as well. So, funeral arrangements have been made for NYPD Officer Jason Rivera, who was responding to a domestic incident in Harlem back on Friday, January 21st. The wake and funeral will take place at St. Patrick's Cathedral. The wake will be on Thursday, January 27th from 1 to 8 p.m. The funeral will take place on January 28th at 9 a.m. St. Patrick's Cathedral in Midtown is on 5th Avenue between West 50th and West 51st Street. If you are going to be using the subway, you can take the E or M train to 5th Avenue and 53rd Street. You can also take the B, D, F, or M train to Rockefeller Plaza. Rockefeller Plaza is not too far from where St. Patrick's Cathedral is. So, according to the head of the Police Benevolence Association, Patrick Lynch, the wake and the funeral will be open to the public, but there might be a capacity restriction due to fire marshal laws. Not because of COVID, because remember, there are no COVID restrictions in the state of New York as of this video, so anything could change from today, Tuesday, until Thursday. So, with that, we're going to wrap up this video. Just a lot going on, and, you know, Channel 1, they'll care about one thing. And look how they frequently update their webpage. So, before I lose my complete mind here, I'm just going to wrap this up. Thank you for watching, and stay safe.